Hey everyone, welcome back to part 3 of our Bitmap2Material tutorial series. In the first two tutorials I showed you how to create your own texture in Bitmap2Material and bring them into iClone as well as create seamless textures. In this tutorial we're going to learn out the iClone settings to make your materials really appear their best. So you can see here I have my scene that I've created from the first two tutorials. If you bring the lighting around you can see the various texture and lighting results that we have right here. We're going to keep the lighting from about this angle here. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our Stage tab here, and we're going to set up some image-based lighting. So in the image-based, or in the atmosphere section rather here, we can go over to the left-hand side here, and these are just basically some image-based lighting templates. I'm going to select this hall one right here. If I double-click that, it's going to basically nullify all the lighting in my scene, and it's going to create this look right here. Now what we want to do is adjust this a little bit because it's a little bit too dark. We can actually just go over here and we can rotate this around. For example, if you rotate it 90 on the x-axis, you can see the result that that has as opposed to 180 right there. We'll probably leave this at 180, it looks about good for us. But what we want to do is actually add in some more lighting as well. So we'll go over to the light section right here, and I'm going to go into our Lightroom, templates here. And what I'm going to just do is use a preset template here. We're going to select Point Light, Left Enhanced. Alright, you can see that the effect that that has right away. So I'm going to close down our Content Manager and open up our lights here. So you can see there's actually no directional lights that are being applied right here. However, we do have 4 point lights that are being applied. And if we show those point lights, we'll just see where they are in the scene. I'm going to select this yellow one here first. If I press F, you can see where it is on the scene there. This one is actually the really bright one. We're actually going to turn that off because we want a more subtle lighting effect here. We're going to keep, we're only going to use these top two here. So this one as well, we're going to turn this off. I'm just going to use these two ones right here. So if I focus on this one here, I'm going to bring this one up a little bit using my gizmo here. And it's going to be a very, we're just going to put that down here closer to the lion's head. And then we're going to choose this one right here. And that one's below the ground plane as well. We'll bring that one up to up here, and we're going to change the color of this one as well. So we'll bring this one up over here and make sure it's a bit closer to our lion's head right there. And you can see our three-dimensional hall there that's creating our image-based lighting right there as well. Alright, so let's move this up a little bit. We're actually going to change this color to blue. So I can select the swatch from over here. And we just select a nice light bluish color, something like about there. That looks good. Maybe a little bit less turquoise than that. Let's just choose a preset here. There we go, nice sky blue. There we go. That's a bit nicer there. We're going to maybe lower the intensity a little bit on that one. Bring it down to 0.7 right there. And there we go. And we're going to take this one, we're going to make it a bit browner as well. So I can select the swatch right there. We'll darken this one up a little bit. And you can see the result that it has right there. So that's creating some nice, interesting reflections on both of our planes there. We'll take this one back a little bit as well. You can see the reflection that has on the specular on the ground plane there as well. We'll leave this about there. Maybe you want to increase that one a little bit. I'll bring it up to about 1.2. There we go. Just a really slight increase. And of course, you can increase or decrease the range of your spotlights as well. Won't have much of a result in this case, but there you go. Alright, and maybe this one's a little bit too blue. Let's make this a little bit whiter, a little bit of a higher color blue there. There we go. Maybe we need to make it a little bit further away from just having a fairly strong effect. Alright, and the next thing we're going to do is actually select one of our directional lights. I'm going to turn this one on. This is going to be our main directional light here. And we can use, of course, a slash key, like I mentioned, to adjust the direction of this. Maybe you want to adjust the ambient color of the scene as well to make it a little bit darker. That's going to add a little bit more depth and contrast to our scene there. And as well, we can maybe lower the color of this one as well. Our main light, something like that. We don't want this to interfere too much with the point lights there, so we'll just kind of bring that to a nice angle right about there. And now, of course, you want to make sure that you have shadows selected because we want some shadows in our scene there. But you're not going to have any shadows yet unless you select your shadow type as self-cast shadow. So I'm going to select that right there. That's going to load for a moment. And you can see a very, very slight shadow on the background there. What I can do is increase the opacity to get that shadow to be more defined. But you can see it's also fairly washed out. I want to maybe blur that as well a little bit. Normally you want to blur your shadow to avoid those sharp edges there. And increase the blur level about right there. Now this is actually because the main light in your scene is not really that intense. So if I go here and I select this and I change it to something a bit whiter, maybe let's select a nice tannish kind of color. Maybe about there should be good. You can see we have a bit of a nicer shadow, a bit of more of a noticeable shadow right there. Let's just maybe decrease the multiplier on this to decrease that a little bit. And you can see we have a nice, nicely lit scene right there. And of course, what we want to do, now if we want to adjust the balance of this, we can go back into our image-based lighting there, and we can actually decrease the brightness of the image-based lighting, since we seem to have a fairly bright effect. So you can see the result that has. That's something a bit more towards what we're looking for. You can see the highlights on the lion's faces are a bit more apparent now. The darkness or the shadows on the wall are a bit more intense. So we'll bring it to a nice balance, something about there. And then of course we can go back to our main light and we can adjust the intensity of that a bit more. We'll bring up to 8.8 or so. There we go. And now you can see if I use the slash key and I move the lighting around, the result that it has on my faces. So we get the nice intensity there, almost like a stone appearance on those lines there, and the nice shadows in the background as well. And if I zoom out here, we can see the nice effect that we have on the specular ground floor as well. It's being more affected, in fact, by the point light right here. If I bring that around, you can see the result that has. That's a bit more intense. We raise that up to 1.2. But yeah, you can go ahead and fool around with all of those to adjust the various lighting parameters to get the effect that you want. I'm going to go over to the atmosphere. I'm going to do one more thing here. We're going to go and add some ambient occlusion. So ambient occlusion there is going to add some more depth to our angles there. If we bring that up, you can see it's going to have a nice effect there. We want to decrease that range a little bit just to make it more defined. And the distance, we can bring that back down a little bit, depending on the intensity we want. Alright, so that's about all we're going to take care of in this tutorial. You can see the final result right there. You can of course adjust the colors of the lighting and various other parameters according to the result you're looking for. But those are your basic things, image-based lighting, ambient occlusion, just setting up your scene lights. Point lights are very useful for creating particular effects on certain objects. So yeah, go ahead and fool around on your own time with the various parameters within iClone there. And definitely have fun creating the result that you like. So that's about it for our Bitmap2Material tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed and learned something about how to create your own textures and make them look good inside iClone. And thanks for watching.